Hello there guys, Arjana here for Forever Football, your Doncaster Rovers content. This is your match preview for the Tuesday match against Rochdale. Now this is all about talking about the Rochdale match. They're free scoring at the minute and it's going to be a very entertaining match. Now of course, one of the big things to know about this game is of course their free scoring form, but also that this is going to be sort of our test ready for the big one on Saturday in the FA Cup against West Ham United. Now, before we get started with everything we're going to talk about with the game, we also need to talk about in this video transfer news as well, because according to multiple sources, we've been listed sort of, reported interest in a few different players. So yeah, this is going to be. It's like walking into a Cadbury shop. This is going to be, sweet as a nut, this video. Sweet as a nut. And we're going to be talking about loads of different interests in players. Somebody listed like 3 signings that he'd like to see in the club. So I'm going to sort of look at that tweet and sort of share my thoughts on, well, would I take these players? And it sort of links into one of the reported stories. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so if you're new around here, so you never miss another YouTube video. Let's get straight into this then. So before we preview the Rochdale game, we have to look at the transfer stories. Now, of course, let's go straight away then into what someone put on Twitter as to what he would like to see in the squad. So he said a centre mid, a striker and a winger. And you know what, to be fair, I quite agree with that, because of course we've got the goalkeeper position sorted, we've got a winger position sorted, but we do need another one. And we also need somebody in the central midfield, because of course Ben Whiteman is gone, and another striker with John Jules being injured now. We are going to talk about players that are out for the Rochdale game as well later in the video. So basically he listed here Ellis Sims on loan from Everton to the end of the season, Matt O'Reilly, who doesn't have a football club, so this is a perfect free transfer in my opinion, and Josh Sims on a permanent from Southampton if QPR aren't pursuing the deal. Now obviously these are 3 players that I'd like to see. Now another EFL transfer source did actually put a post up a few hours ago to say that Doncaster Rovers are interested in signing Ellis Sims. And then the EFL Zone source, I believe it was, actually posted on Twitter a few hours ago that Rovers were leading the race for the central midfielder Charlie Kokets from Östersund. And this kind of plays into what I was talking about really in previous reports, where I was saying that, they came out and said, we're paying for frees and loan deals and, we're not pursuing transfer fees. And then, but you look at past evidence of what we did with Cameron John. No one else knew we were in for that deal until he absolutely 100% straight away out of the blue, completely out of nowhere, signed for the club. So you've got to look at these kind of deals and think, well, hang on a minute, if we can get players out of nowhere and try and make people think we're not going to buy anyone on a fee, then maybe Charlie Coker is a good transfer. I think under the right manager, Charlie Coker could be a wonderful player, and I think, Coker's got that experience now from Europe, playing with Östersunds, and the Östersunds are a team that beat Arsenal, but let's be honest, it's not hard to beat Arsenal sometimes. But he played for Östersunds. He's got European experience now, so he can bring that to our club. He can bring that kind of experience. Matt O'Reilly, free transfer, hasn't got a club. I'd be happy with that one. 100% I'd be happy with it. I think he showed some numerous wonderful abilities in previous clubs during his playing career so far. And I think that Matt O'Reilly could really bring that sense of knowledge and football intelligence to the game. Ellis Sims, young goal attacking threat. Ellis Sims, a wonderful young striker, could really make it in the Everton first team in the future. And if we get him on loan to the end of the season and maybe on another loan deal throughout the next season, then that would be a wonderful achievement for the club, because I think he's a wonderful young striker. And then Josh Sims. We all know as Rovers fans, Josh Sims is on another flaming level. So if we get him on a permanent 2-3 year deal, I swear, if we're only paying the fee for one player, if we're only going to pay like one transfer fee or 2, and we get Coker and Sims, I'd be happy with that, because I think Coker under the right manager would be brilliant, and Darren Moore is the right manager. Josh Sims, another level, we knew that, and I think he'd be wonderful for the club. So if we get Sims and Coker, or just Sims, then I'd be happy with that. If we get Sims, as well as Matt O'Reilly on a free, and Ellis Sims on loan, I'd be happy with that. Now, of course, it was reported, actually. And I've just got the notification from the EFL Hub, which isn't the most reliable of sources, but they did sort of repeat the Charlie Colkett news to say that we lead Sunderland, Blackpool and Hull in the race to sign the Östersund midfielder. So even though that's not the most trusted of source, another source is already reporting it anyway before then. So, there must be maybe some kind of truth in the previous source, not this one of course, but the previous source before the EFL Hub source reported this news. But I tell you what, if we are leading, if that source reports on that news again, and it confirms that we are leading Sunderland, Blackpool and Hull, that's 3 teams, 3 big teams. Sunderland, hopefully going to be on the rise in the future. Blackpool on the rise. Hull, inconsistent but can be on the rise. If we lead them in the race for this Östersund midfielder, if those are the 3 teams confirmed to be in the race with us and we're leading it, then fair play, we're doing a good job. And this sort of reassumes my point here that the manager is getting backed by the board. This whole sort of freeze and loans and no transfer fees thing is just like the Cameron John story. It's just a ruse to put other teams off. We will sign these players completely out of nowhere. We'll do these deals. Josh Sims, I'm confident with. I know I was wrong about Whiteman, and I did see on Twitter some Preston fans clipping me on Twitter. Rejected fam. Rejected! Like, you're singing for the X Factor with a voice like a scratched cat. Rejected. Yeah, I saw some clips of that. Fair play. I'll eat my humble pie. But Preston fans, very good of you to clip me on Twitter. But I'm confident with Sims. Absolutely confident. And QPR, rejected, fam. Rejected. But there we go. Now, I did see some other sort of articles from Liam Hoden in the Free Press put on Twitter. Now, of course, one particular article that sort of jumped to my attention in the early hours of this morning was Darren Moore being bombarded with options for potential signings. Now, he's actually come out and said that his phone has not stopped beeping with potential leads for signings, but insists there is still plenty of work to be done before securing new arrivals. Now, Moore is looking to bolster his squad with new additions following the departure of Ben Whiteman to Preston North End. By the way, Ben Whiteman, not a good start for Preston in the overall team's result, losing 2-0. But he admits it's a tough balancing act within a packed fixture schedule, with Rovers hosting Rochdale on Tuesday night, and of course got the West Ham fixture on Saturday. He says publicly on the Free Press article, "We've just started the process really, so whether I can get people in for Tuesday, we'll wait and see." And of course, if there is any transfer news before the game, we'll bring that to you on the channel. It's not stopped. Messages, phone calls, emails, they're coming in 24 hours a day. We'll get through it. It's more about focusing on the bodies that we've got in here and looking to Tuesday's game, which will be another great test. It's 2 teams playing football, and it'll be another good game. It's one that we'll look forward to. Moore says securing new additions will be a collective effort, with the head of talent identification Adam Henschel and chief executive Gavin Baldwin joining him in driving the hunt. He says all of those, Adam is on the board, myself, Gavin, we've got to share the load and looking to identify and try and bring in that right person in. It's not just falling on the shoulders of one, it's going to take a joint effort, and we've all got to work together and seeing who is out there that we can bring in and is going to take us forward. And you know what, this is what I mean, and to be fair, I actually said this in a previous video months ago. I said about the transfer market, Moore is not stubborn. Moore does, and this is a perfect example. People go out there and say, why aren't we buying the players? Why aren't we bringing in the players? And we're only halfway through the window. You've got to look at the summer. We didn't rush in at on the first day of the window, or the first week or two of the window, and just completely sign 5 players. We waited, we scouted, we got the phone calls, and to be fair, the loan deals that we got in this season in the summer, it wasn't even our fault. We were waiting for the parent clubs to accept it. Bursick, Richards, John Jules from Arsenal. We were waiting for the parent clubs to give the final confirmation. We did everything on our part. We did everything we could. We were waiting for the parent clubs. So it's not like we're lacking in the transfer window. It's just that Moore's not stubborn. He just wants to get the right player in the right position at the right time. And, in my opinion, hopefully a winger, a striker and a centre midfielder. That's hopefully what we're going to do. But I reckon that, like I said, Sims, Josh Sims, Sims from Everton on loan, the striker Sims. It's going to be a bit confusing now, isn't it? Sims, and O'Reilly would be brilliant signings. I'd be happy with that. 100% be happy with that. And we've got to sort of take our time here. There's reported interest in Sims from Everton. We'd like to see Josh Sims come back on a permanent deal from Southampton. I think Sims 100% wants to stay at the club as well. So it's a no-win situation. It's a no-brainer in my opinion. It's not a lose situation for Doncaster. It should be a win-win situation. And we'll see what QPR have to say about that. But I've got confidence in this transfer window, and I've got confidence we can get promotion this season. And it's all about just letting the manager and the board and the people at the transfer talk do their bit. Now, of course, we have seen some other stuff recently as well. Obviously, congratulations to Max Waters moving to Cardiff City for £1 million. Obviously, that's, in my opinion, a fail for Doncaster, because I think we failed to see the talent of Max Waters and we didn't produce it good enough. But I know he's been good to us. I know he's a good young kid. I know he's got a lot of potential. So, good luck to him in Cardiff. Obviously, there was some talking points from the Swindon match. Looked back on it, I saw that picture from the corner flag. The referee, he needs to look at himself. But now we look at the Rochdale game. This is that's what it's all about here. This is the final test before West Ham and the FA Cup. What squad have I gone for? Well, it's been on your screen all throughout this episode at the minute, and we're going to share that right now. There's been a couple of switch-arounds from this game that I've gone with. So here is my team, of course, manager Darren Moore and captain Tom Anderson. No change there. Hope Tom Anderson doesn't go now. But to be fair, no. In all seriousness, I'm glad to have had those memories with Ben Whiteman over the past couple of years as a fan. And, it's nice to have, at least have a few reports where it's like Captain Ben Whiteman on the channel. So it's nice to have that past era on the channel. But yeah, looking at this team then, I've got Balcom in goal. Halliday, Anderson, Butler and Danny Amos at left back. I'll explain why in a minute. Ravenhill and Smith in the midfield. Taylor and Simios on the wing. Richards at cam. Okunabiri up front. And then on the bench, we've got Jones, John, Horton, Blythe, Greaves, Williams and Lakilo. Now, there's a reason why I've made those switches around. Now, obviously, we have to explain some absentees. John Jules, he's injured. He's pulled something in his hamstring. It did not look good. Hopefully, it's better than we fear. But I reckon that's going to be a few weeks out with John Jules, so he won't feature in the West Ham match either. Coppinger's obviously out for a few weeks anyway, so he won't feature. Reece James has got 5 yellow cards now, so he's suspended for this league match, but he's back for West Ham, thank God. Apparently he kicked the ball away, that's why he got a yellow card, but there we go. Joe Wright, the reason why he wasn't in the Swindon match is because Joe Wright picked up a knock, so he's out for 2 or 3 weeks, so he won't feature in the West Ham match either. And there we go, Magic Gomez is obviously still out there. So, Gomez, Coppinger, we knew they were out. We knew that Wright was going to be out for a couple of weeks now after not featuring the Swindon match. But James is out and John Jules is out now. So, James is only out for the one match for a suspension for kicking the ball away in the Swindon match. He'll be back for West Ham. John Jules out probably for a few weeks. He won't be back either. So, of course, people can say, we've got a very thin squad, but I know more will work miracles with this squad. And you've got to think, Rochdale, that's a big game. This is sort of the perfect test in a way for us, because West Ham and the big Premier League sides like to score a lot of goals against these lower league teams. So, they're going to want to try and score loads of goals. So we've got to try and go to West Ham on Saturday and try and stop that and convert our chances into goals. But in terms of coming up against, a free scoring side at the minute, Rochdale are the perfect test for it. 3-3 draw with Wigan on the weekend. Loads of goals in the past few games. Rochdale really are starting to rise up the league from the lower mid-table to higher mid-table. So, I think Rochdale, they're not going to go down in my opinion. I think Rochdale will be safe this season. But I think if they continue this free scoring form, who knows where they're going to finish. But hopefully we can convert our chances into goals, and hopefully they'll be wide open so we can keep attacking on their end and produce goals on our end, so we can have a bit of a demolition day tomorrow. But let's go through why I've selected the team that I've selected. So Balcom in nets, no surprises there. The goal that Swindon scored wasn't his fault, he couldn't do much about that. But since Balcom's come into this club, he's been an absolute wonder keeper, and I think hopefully this will be a good test for our defence and our goalkeeper, Rochdale, because of course, for their free scoring form, you know, Rochdale are going to be a good test for our goalkeeper and our back four. One change to the back four, obviously Halliday's back at right back again. Anderson and Butler the same. I'm not got no problems with them. I put Danny Amos at left back because I think Danny Amos needs the minutes. I think Danny Amos needs a good start under his belt, and also I would rest Cameron John until like the last 10 minutes of the match, or I'd even rest him for the whole match, and I would leave him for the West Ham match on Saturday because I think he'd be needed against West Ham. But Danny Amos, I'd give him a start. Use this opportunity to debut and start some people that don't usually start when the rest of the first teamers are back. Start Amos, rest John. In the midfield, now, and Smith coming back, you know, I knew that was going to happen anyway. I knew Smith would be in the starting lineup for me. But you're probably wondering why I put Ravenhill there instead of Greaves. Well, I want Greaves to come on as an impact substitution like he did against Swindon. He put in a decent shift when he came on against Swindon in the second half, and that's why he got a 7 from me in the match rating. You know, he definitely put in a shift when he came off the bench, and I think he can do that again if Ravenhill needs to rest now. If he plays like 60 minutes and then we rest him for half an hour and we bring Greaves on, Greaves can continue the impact that Ravenhill could have if he started the match. So I've got no problem starting Ravenhill and then bring Greaves on with half an hour to go to keep bringing in the impact. So that's what I'd do with the midfield. Obviously, Richard's back at cam. His physicality, his attacking prowess is needed there. In my opinion, his physicality works as a deep midfielder, but in my opinion, it's square pegs round holes. I know he can play as a CDM as well. He's played there before in the past with his youth at Brighton. But in my personal opinion, it's square pegs round holes for us. He's better as a cam. He's our next Coppinger, in my opinion. I think he's the perfect long-term fit when Coppinger retires. Happy birthday to Coppinger, by the way. 40 years old. The big 40. Massive shout out to Coppinger. But yeah, Richard's at cam. He needs to go back in that position. Taylor on the wing, the right. Simio's on the left. No problems there. Simio's putting a decent shift at cam, but I'd like to see him back on the wing now. Take some of that attacking prowess from the cam position, put it on the wing, and let's see how he improves on the wing. And then up front, Okunabiri, no surprises there. Okunabiri, in my opinion, has scored 2 great goals against Swindon at the weekend, so he can take that goal scoring form now and he can try and improve in that particular position. And then obviously on the bench, obviously with the low in numbers, obviously we're low in numbers with the bench, so you've got to bring Hornton back in, you've got to bring in Blythe on the bench, Greaves on the bench, to join Lewis Jones, Cameron John, Ed Williams and Jason Lakilo. I'd be interested to see if they'll start Ed Williams, because I think he needs minutes in my opinion. I think that if he got a start, maybe if they will put Richards in the midfield and put Ravenhill on the bench, if they start Williams at cam, maybe they could give Ed Williams some minutes and start him in a game to give him some confidence, because apart from the minutes he's come off the bench in the first half of the season, we've not seen really much of Ed Williams. I know he's still got to develop as a player, but I think he's a good young talent, and I think that an underrated talent. So I think the more starts we give him, the more minutes we give him, the more confidence we give him. But it should be interesting. I mean, I'm going to go... I mean, look at Rochdale's free scoring form. So, looking at that, I'm going to go with a... I'm going to go with a 4-2 win. I think Balcom might concede, but again, I think the goals won't be his fault. But I think we'll score loads. I think we'll match what they've been doing and what they're sort of looking at in terms of, what they do for the free scoring form. I think that we'll utilise their free scoring form. We'll utilise the fact that they're going to be quite open, and we're going to push ahead and go for it. So I'm expecting a 4-2 win. There could be more, could be less. Obviously, the watch along will be on tomorrow as well, so stay tuned for that. But for now, guys, thank you very much for watching the match preview for the Rochdale game. Stay tuned tomorrow for the watch along. And for now, my name is Aaron Charlotte for Forever Football, and that, my friends, is full time. Rovers till I die.